Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ryan and Brian Talk Sports. I'm in this weird ass, I guess, blank room of nothingness. But as always, my co-host here, Ryan Props, partnered with Boom Fantasy and Pickett Sports, and this is the first baseball show. It's very exciting.
Yeah, dude, absolutely ecstatic. I believe when we started our show, it had to have been over the summer, maybe even May of last year. But I mean, at the time, we were only doing baseball. So the show got started exclusively baseball, and the NBA kind of blessed us in a weird way with an exclusively baseball day today for whatever reason. Do we know the
Yeah,
reason why there's no NBA games?
are you an idiot? It's the national championship.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, there never is an NBA on today.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
that makes sense. I don't remember that from prior years. Not to say it hasn't happened, but it never clicked with me. All right, good deal. But yeah, baseball exclusive show. So super excited. I believe you're 1-0 on the day. I'm 2-0 on the day. So
Oh, you have two.
keep
Oh, I
this shit
didn't even.
rolling.
I've been in the car a lot of the day, so I haven't seen it. A lot. Yeah, for everyone that doesn't know, I'm in a public library in Homedale, New Jersey. So it's pretty legit. Ryan is going to handle all chat duties because the last thing I want is to try to pull up the chat on my computer and blow something up and lose all connection here. So we're making this work. It's they have co-working spaces here, and you get an hour limit. So I figured perfect time to steal a room.
There you go.
I had to kick someone out though. There was a nice young lady that was in here, and I was like, "How long has she been in there?" And they said, "Oh, her hour might be up." And I was like, "All right, let's get her out. We got baseball to talk about." So it's nice to be here. So Ryan, you have all access to the comments and chat because I'm not going to try to bring it up.
That's fine. Yep, I got them all. I got them all rolling. The most recent comment says Brian always showing off with those tight shirts. So
This is a large actually. It's pretty loose.
yeah,
I will say when if you are familiar with the Homedale, New Jersey area, Matawan County area, there's the Bell Labs, Bell Works. So it's like a big public park. There's a basketball court here. There's a library. There's a gym. There's co-working spots. So when I'm here visiting friends and or my girlfriend or this or that, I just like live here. I literally do work out in the co-working spaces. I work out at the gym here. I belong to year round, and then I come here, and now I can do my show here. So it's crazy, and there's a bar here as well. So it really gets you on all levels there. So I'll probably go to the bar after this, and then go
oh boy.
watch. And then I'm going to a sports book later to watch the national championship. So it should be a fun time.
Yeah, this is gonna be a hell of a night. Well, shit. You ready to get going?
I was born ready, man. Actually, while we're on the comment of we'll before we get into baseball, I don't know what we have. Is there any national championship on our list of things to talk about? Is that first?
It's
That's
second.
second. It's second. So let's go to MLB. How many picks do you have on the show? I have two.
I have kind of five.
Oh shit, you go first then, man. You got to go six in a row,
Yeah.
and then I'll take my chances.
One's kind of, I don't want to say correlated. I'll explain further. I have five, I'll say. I'm going to start off with let's start off with a parlay. So the reason I did the parlay, it's on FanDuel. If you do a three leg or more plus 400 or more, you get a 50% profit boost. So I did a parlay to get that profit boost per se. I went pretty much as chalky as you can go here. I went with an Aaron Judge home run. He has 4 home runs in 11 at bats versus Taiwan Walker, which is all four of his hits. So it never feels like a bad night to take a Judge home run. And he's just, he hasn't skipped a beat. He already has two already this season. So seemed like a nice leg. And then I went with Jordan total bases. He's actually one of the rare left-handed batters that's really good versus left-handed pitching. Batted 321 last year with 23 extra base hits in 162 at bats versus lefties. So far in the early season, he's 1 of 1 with a double versus lefties this season, and he's 2 of 4 versus Matthew Boyd so far in his career. So total bases, I really like that look. If you wanted to take straights out of this play, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I did this solely for the profit boost, I guess you could say. And then I included Houston money line. It's just a simple fade the Tigers play. Just fade the fuck out of the Tigers this entire season. They're going to be battling the A's. It's probably the top two most awful teams, maybe of all time. Detroit is just so bad. We are kind of putting the trust into a young prospect for Houston named Hunter Brown, who
Electric stuff though.
Yeah, he is.
Electric stuff.
He has heavy potential, and with Lance McCullers hurt, Justin Verlander gone, I think they lean on him pretty hard this season. I think they gave him the keys, and let's see what he can do with it. So all in all, let me see, it was plus 738. I put a half unit on it. Put what you're comfortable on. I could have put 10, which is probably what I would
10 units.
Do.
Holy shit,
Jeez.
that is a crazy level there. Yeah, I do like that. Is that like the FanDuel had the bet 10 whatever get
yeah
50% boost? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so this is my parlay for it. I had it, so I figured I'd share.
Yeah, I used it in the same game. Mine is Hunter Brown 6 strikeouts, Astros win. Jeremy Pena a hit, and then I took Matt Boyd under 4.5 strikeouts. That was mine.
Nice.
And is that one that is correlated to your next play? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, in a sense, it's not in the same game or anything. It's correlated in the sense of my next play would be the one that I use my profit boost on. Now this it gets a little complicated if you don't have a profit boost because it is kind of juiced. You're going to find it about minus 140-ish on books. For whatever reason, I'm a little more willing to drink the juice on MLB plays.
I don't know what the play is, but my philosophy is I'm way more inclined to drink. Is it a hitting prop or is it a strikeout prop?
Strikeout.
Is it an over and under? It's an under. Okay, that's my philosophy. Is I'm a big believer and I'm okay drinking juice on unders, not overs, because there's too much that can go wrong in an over. Where I don't think it's worth drinking the juice. Like I have hard time spending these minus 130, minus 140s on overs because I mean you saw it today. Cookie Carrasco, he was looking to clear his 5.5 line with ease.
Yes,
he blew the hell up. He got demolished. And so that's what I mean. There's so much that can go wrong in an over where it's really tough to like sell like a minus 140, minus 150 over. So we align there, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I won't really hesitate to drop a minus 140 under very often. And this is a spot which I like it even more, obviously, because I have the profit boost, which brings it, I believe, over plus odds. But I'm going Ryan Nelson under 4.5 strikeouts on FanDuel. So, look around, make sure you get the best price on that one. I think FanDuel at the time that I took it about an hour before the show had the worst price at minus 146.
Really?
It's like minus 140 elsewhere. So, like I said, I used my profit boost here. That got me to my plus 103. So Ryan Nelson is pretty young. This will be I probably even classifies as a rookie, but I'm not 100% sure. He only had like 16 innings last year, but he pitched pretty solid. But the main thing with Ryan is he's had really good success with strikeouts in the lower levels of the minor leagues. And as he kept climbing through the levels, the success just dwindled down and down and down. Not that he's a bad strikeout guy, but his K rate really started to fall, and especially when he got to AAA last year, and he got hit around as well in AAA with a 5.43 ERA. He did come up for those 16, 18 innings, like I said last year, but if anything, that just gave the majors a better scouting report and a summer to kind of figure him out. So I think this is a really nice spot against the Padres team. 3 of the 4 starting pitchers for the Rockies went under. For the full games, in the 4 games that the Padres have played, they had 5 total strikeouts, 4 total strikeouts, 5 total strikeouts, and 10 total strikeouts in the first game. So, I mean, they really haven't been striking out much at all. German Marquez in the first game did catch him for 5, but other than that, I mean, they pretty much hit around whoever they threw out on the mound the rest of the series. So, like I said, 5, 4, and 5 in the last 3 games, and that's full game, not even just the starting pitcher. One of the key things about this play that I like the most is Ryan throws like 70% fastballs, and it sits in the 94 to 96 range, averages about 95 miles per hour. And of the projected 9 batters in tonight, they all have a whiff rate less than 19% on fastballs of that speed. And then there's guys that have massive ISOs versus this type of pitch as well. So Soto has great success versus 95 mile an hour fastballs. Xander Bogaerts does as well. Dahl is projected bet 9th. I can't promise that will be the case, but he has a really good ISO versus that kind of pitch. And then Jake Cronenworth has a really nice ISO against that pitch. So San Diego's offense should really start to click at some point throughout this season. I think there's obviously a ton of talent. It'll help when Tatis gets back, but in the meantime, man, there's just not really any guys on this team striking out that often. Um, a guy throwing primarily fastballs, I don't believe will get the job done against them tonight.
Yeah, I like that. Like I said, JD's texting us for the one time he's ever watched this show. But yeah, so I do like it. I do think you can find some in this market of strikeout props. I do think you can find some value in these unders, even especially early on when we talk about how so much can go wrong or so much can go right in the case of an under. Where it's almost like this sounds like a bad thing to say, but in this earlier in the season, it's almost like if you were to have to just randomly close your eyes and pick a play, you're almost just hoping it's an under because so many things can go right for it. Like today, Michael Kopech was set at 5.5. If you took the under, you were sweating. He had 4 strikeouts in the first, I think, 9 or 10 batters, and then he got demolished. He allowed what 7 runs. So yeah, there's just so much.
Job.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a fun time. So I'll bring that in to I'll mix this in. This is my juiced under of the day, which is minus 134 on FanDuel. I got it minus 140. It was actually minus like 180. It still is some books. So you can never necessarily always nail down the strikeout market in terms of what value you're going to get, but at minus 134, I think it's great. I'm okay paying this juice. Is I took Drew Rasmussen under 4.5 strikeouts. I actually like him a lot. I think he's a great pitcher. I'm a big fan of him. But there's 2 things. One, he's not a big whiff rate guy. He hovers around 21% strikeout rate. And that's okay. I mean, I think in this league, so many people are wowed. Like, how many times someone can just blow a fastball by you or get you to swing through a slider or this, that, and the other, that people forget that you can still have very successful pitchers that pitch for contact. And he's one of those guys that he doesn't need to be missing bats. He can miss bats. He has some big ass strikeout totals last year in random games, but there's 2 things working against him: the lineup he's going to face and the leash he's going to see. I mean, he didn't even pitch 60 pitches in any of his 3 spring training starts. And his last spring training start was March 19th. I don't know what their deal
That's
is.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's pitched after that, obviously. There's no way he's just like sitting idle for that long. But yeah, the Rays are so interesting in how they handle their pitchers. And you saw it yesterday with Springs. I mean, Springs had a no-no through 6 innings, 80 pitches, didn't get the 7th, which I get, but they don't hesitate to pull guys. So for a guy like Rasmussen that is, coming to the season a little bit later of a spring, I just don't see him getting to that 80 pitch range. And when I was filtering on Propside Cash, in 14 starts that he had 83 or less pitches, he was under this like pretty easily in every single one. The only time he's gone over this line is when he's throwing 85 or more pitches. So I'll take that risk just off the bat because I don't think he's going to see that many pitches. But also, I mean, you look at the Nationals lineup, it's kind of funny because they're not necessarily a scary lineup, but man, 1 to 9, they are a 19.7% strikeout rate. And it's really like a matter of there's 3 guys that I'm worried about. And it's like Lane Thomas, Rolbies. Those guys might be the ones to make you sweat, but there's some guys that are like 12%, 7%. They have so much people in their lineup that just don't strike out and they just find ways to put the ball in play that I just don't know if he's going to see the lineup enough times through to get Lane Thomas at 6 and Rolbies at 8. He might only see them once. I mean, we'll probably see him twice, but he's not going to get far enough in the game to see them enough times to get 5, I don't think. So I like this one a lot. I'm okay paying the juice.
Yep.
I also think I also want to just say this. I think sometimes early in the year, I always say you have to earn the juice, if that makes sense. Because weirdly enough, I had a really good start to the year. I mean, the only real loss I've had is Max Fried's injury. So I think if you get that like decent start where you're up 5 or 6 units, 7 units already, you can feel like really good because the last thing you want to do is start off a year and go say like 2 for 8, but all like minus 140s because that could really set you back. But at this point, I'm feeling like really confident in how I'm seeing the board. I just think this is a little bit inflated.
You said earn the juice. I like that. That's an interesting perspective.
I mean, if you go in day 2 and you take like 3 strikeout unders at minus 150 and you lose all of them, I mean, that's 0-3, which is like you can survive that. But that's 4.5 units right there. It's just, yeah, baseball is a game of juice with how, I mean, not juice balls right now, apparently, but juice strikeout props. So sometimes you have to just drink that up. And I do think it's, I would guess I'm going to go 63. is how many pitches I think Drew will see. I don't think. I mean, if I'm wrong and he goes like 80 pitches, I'll take the loss. But even if he does, I like this lineup a lot.
Yeah, good deal. I definitely don't mind that one at all. I'm going to go ahead and throw two plays kind of out at the same time. I'm going to get in on the stolen base fun. I never quite saw myself taking odds that looked like this for a stolen base, but they're honestly not that terrible considering what we've seen so far. So a little background: through 4 days last year, there was 29 steals at this time. Through 4 days this year, there's 70. Now, kind of leading the pack on these steals is the Orioles. They have 10 stolen bases through 3 games, and 3 of them came from Cedric Mullin, 4 came from Jose Mateo, and those will be the 2 guys that I'm taking. So I'm going to take these 2 from the Baltimore Orioles. I just checked a minute ago. It wasn't even on DraftKings, but it has been on all day. I'm sure they'll put it back at some point. They're both confirmed in the lineup. I believe Cedric's 1, Mateo's 8. They've just been running like madman. Gray was a really good target last year. He allowed 15 stolen bases. The Rangers allowed a stolen base in 2 of the 3 games versus the Phillies. So I think I went half unit on both of these guys. And I mean, obviously, if one hits, we profit a pretty good cut. So I really like taking this risk. I think Mateo was plus 115 and Cedric was plus 200. And a little bit more, the cherry on top is Mullins has really good success versus Gray as far as getting on base. Mateo, I think, was 0-3 lifetime. Getting on base is always going to be his issue. He's not really a great hitter. Doesn't draw a ton of walks, but when he's on, he fucking goes. So, I mean, I think he's only played 2 games so far. He played 2 of the 3, and he has 4.
How long do you think we're going to start seeing like Aaron Judge level home run for these stolen base props? Because they are just
we're going to start to see him in the plus 100s. Maybe not plus 100, but like plus 160 is not that far off. Honestly, plus 200 feels like a good price at this point for these 2 guys. So
I mean, they are just
oh my gosh,
there's so many stolen bases. I mean, did you see that meme earlier in the offseason where like they had like they had the bases and then like they made it look like there was like they were like 7 feet long. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that where like they made the rule change. There was like that meme that went around about like the giant bases. I might have to break that out soon because that's just it's becoming true where I mean 4 inches is a lot. It's actually most people say 4 inches is too much. So I think it's good to have that in your perspective as you look at these stolen bases props and think about like the added on few inches there.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple comments that I need to address. This is actually
is it about the 4 inches? Because I think that's like double what you need on a base. What's the comments you're talking about?
Yeah, there you go. Not Bob said that Mullins is now plus 105 and Mateo is plus 125. They were both over plus 200 earlier when I locked this in at the time. And Bet 365 had a little bit better odds. Man, if they're plus 105 and plus 125 and DraftKings your only option, walk away. Plus 200, if you can get that, take that. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that they were going to be so awful. I still don't have them up in Virginia for DraftKings, but earlier today, Cedric
365 though. That's a book I need to get. They seem to have crazy odds, and I think I saw was it Quan the other day? Someone complained about one of the prices on 365, and Quan commented, and he was just like, "Shut up!" Like he was just like, "You don't have the right to complain," which is true. I mean, they have some crazy prices.
They do. If you want to ladder a guy like in the NBA to do like a full ladder, you're going to get plus 1,000 for so many options. And you'll go over to FanDuel and see plus 600 for the same thing. I mean, it's insane. So if you're lucky enough to be in one of the 4 states that has Bet 365, you're in luck. Sadly, I'm sorry, I didn't. They're still not up on DraftKings, so I thought they'd still sit at plus 200-ish on DraftKings. If they're not, leave it alone. If you can get plus 200, grab them.
Nice. And then how many more picks do you have? Because you might be better. Oh, you only have 1 left. Wow, you really flew through those. Yeah, so I'll take my pick.
Sounds good, man.
Kind of piggybacking what we talked about earlier. I mean, we both have the same game for our risk-free parlay thingy, majiggy, whatever you call it. And I'm gonna take a player performance double. I mean, so today will be an interesting day. I'm gonna have a 4 for 4 that hit in the early game. I'm gonna have a juiced under, and I'm gonna have a PPD market. So we're gonna see how each bet type kind of fares. But yeah, I took Hunter Brown 5 strikeouts and a win. I know Nick Larson
Thought
is
about it
also
all
on
day
that.
long.
-105. I mean, I usually like to get in like the closest plus minus possible for a two leg in this market, but it's -120 on FanDuel, and I think it's a little off. I mean, as you mentioned, he's a young prospect, but he's got crazy good stuff. And if you haven't yet, do yourself a favor and check the Tigers lineup against righties. Not you. I know you probably looked at it, but let me just show you some of these guys that Hunter Brown will see in this thing. They're probably going to have Matt in leadoff, a 33.5% strikeout rate last year against righties there. You have Riley Green. Green is 29.1%. He's not as 30%. You have Javier Baez at 26%. You have Carpenter at 30.5. You have Tolkinson at 26.3. You have Meadows, who's 8. He's the one guy. Like he's the one guy
One
that
guy.
like knows how to look at a baseball. And then Cabrera, as good as he has been in his career, I mean 24.5%. Shoop is 20. Like the Shoop is 21%, and that's like the best. Like he gets a gold star for being around the low 20s, which is still, it's pretty good. It's average.
Still
But he's
decent
like
target.
he's like the golden boy for this lineup for not striking out half the time. So yeah, this is just a lineup where I've said it a lot last year. Against lefties, the Tigers are kind of competent a little bit. But against righties, they just cannot get anything going. Like they actually like they hit well against lefties, but they don't hit for power and they don't know how to get on base. And they don't know how to walk. So they don't really score. They just have a decent average. But against righties, they just get mowed down. And if you look at, the Astros lineup, I mean, 1 to 9, anyone could do damage, especially for a guy that they're going to be seeing today, which I just think this is one of those things where I don't want to fade the Tigers back-to-back games, but this is a Houston Astro team that they lost the first game of the season and since have just looked a lot better.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I thought about this one a good cut of the day. So I figured once I saw Nick Larson posted, I kind of just left it alone. I'll kind of let him have that. And then obviously now you're on it. So I'll let you guys have this play, but I will be absolutely tailing. I really, really like this spot. I've kind of flirted with the idea of Hunter Brown ladder, but it's a little early and we haven't seen enough of Hunter Brown quite to jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, I think that's why I like I think 5 and a win seems safe because I mean I don't want to like jinx my own play, but it's almost like if the Astros get a walk, a bloop single, and a bomb, 3 runs almost seems like enough against this Tigers team. They struggle mightily. I mean, they remind me of like the Phillies a few years ago, where the offense was just kind of bad, and you just hope for like a solo home run every once in a while. Like that's kind of their offense. I mean, they have really just struggled this year and last year.
Yeah, I think this team's in big fucking trouble. It's crazy because they're like in year 10 of a rebuild. And I mean, if anything, they had some solid pitching to be excited about, but like Scooball's out, Casey Mize is out. There's just nothing here, man. Goodness gracious. They got Spencer Turnbull back after I believe he missed most, if not all of last year. He got shelled in his first start back. So man, prayers out to the Detroit fans. You have Riley Green, who was, I mean, shit, he was like the number 1 prospect at certain points of last year.
He's one of those guys where he can maybe be the ones that burns you in that solo home run, but he's also might strike out through time. So it's like even Javier Baez, sometimes maybe he runs into a home run, but sometimes he's swinging out of his cleats. And
yes, he is.
I took him yesterday. I took the Springs PPD, and in the first inning, Springs got him on like this like off speed change up about knee high. And he looked like he's never seen a change before. It was like he swung high cheddar and that thing dipped on him and it just looked bad. I tried to make fun of players because hitting a baseball is the hardest thing in the world, but Javier Baez has some of the worst strikeout clips you can find.
He definitely does. And I don't know his contract off the top of my head, but I think
it's bad.
7 years, 170. It's kind of made up numbers, but I don't think it's like terribly far off. Detroit, what's going on over there, man? This is sad. This is a bad team. It would be funny if I ate my words and they won tonight, but this.
I would prefer they don't win tonight. As a guy that put the money on there, but I do think it's a good spot. I think the player performance market is kind of fun to experiment with against some of these teams that are just bad baseball teams.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of running into not necessarily an issue, but one thing I kind of worried about on this show, especially with strikeout props, because that's primarily what I'm going to be peeking at, is when they get juiced to shit, like in between me playing them and then our show going live, which happens to be the case. I'm shopping around right now, see if I can find a better line. My favorite play of the day was Brady Singer over 4.5 strikeouts.
Have you seen the Blue Jays announced lineup?
It's even better than I anticipated when I locked it in too, because they included Biggio. I'll talk over the prop real quick and kind of in the background hope that I can find a playable price. Ooh, boom, Caesars minus 129. No question, I would take that. I think it's minus 120 on Bet365, or at least it was 25 minutes ago. So this is my favorite play of the day, at least of the night slate. He had 68 pitches in his last spring start. So I mean, the way I'm kind of reading into that is I'm suggesting, that suggests to me that he's
75 plus
borderline, like, he should be pretty damn close to a full go. I'm not going to say full leash, but I don't think he's that far off of it. If he had a full leash, we would see a 5-5 line here, and I would still probably be playing it. So we might see one less inning. We're seeing one less strikeout on the prop. So give me this all the way. He hit this in 67% of the games last year. He hit it in 73% at home. He was 61st percentile in strikeout rate. He had 5 in his lone start against the Blue Jays last year. And this lineup's actually even a little bit better than I anticipated it being, mainly due to Biggio being in the lineup. He's another terrific target. So the main targets when you're betting on Brady Singer is left-handed batters, and there's 4 really, really good targets in this lineup. So he's got Dalton Varsho, he's got Brandon Belt, he's got Kevin Kiermaier, and now Biggio in this lineup. So Brady has a 28.5% K rate versus lefties, which drops pretty damn significantly versus righties to a little less than 20%. So I was fairly encouraged enough with just Varsho, Belt, and Kiermaier. And then when they threw in Biggio, I got even more excited. So this one I actually wouldn't even mind.
Your 2.5 inches was showing, when they put Biggio in.
That's right. Goodness gracious. Threw me off my train of thought. Okay, so Toronto has a really solid offensive course, but Brady was really good at home last year, so I think he can keep them under control enough to find 5Ks somewhere in this lineup. And there's some decent targets, pretty much outside of Vlad and George and Kirk. There's 6 solid targets for sure here. So.
I give Vlad a lot of credit for being as a force as he is. You see a lot of those guys just be also huge strikeout players as well. He's very good and very powerful for someone that knows how to put the ball in play and just keep things going rather than just whiffing all the time.
Yeah, 17.8% versus righties. So yeah, he's damn good at I guess not striking out, but Bo Bichette is a decent target at 22.2%.
What'd you call me?
Not great, Bo.
Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
That just sounded bad. I don't know.
Yeah, so I really, really like this play. This is
I like
the day.
I like Brady Singer a lot. I've always said that the Royals have like 2 of the most underrated K prop guys out there with Brad Keller and Brady Singer. They just always get these 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, and they kind of show up like a little bit. Like they're not the best in the world, but yesterday Brad Keller was 3.5 was his line. It was like minus 150, but still, I mean, he had 6 pretty easily. I think that they have a good pitching guys there, not necessarily for their future, but I think it's really nice for, as a bettor, they're fun to find value in.
Yeah. There was, and I'm trying to find it on the fly here. There was a guy on Twitter that I really would suggest going to peek at. I just found him for the first time today.
Is it Brian versus the Books?
It is not. Awesome. I actually have him blocked, so I would not.
That guy's sick, man. I love that. Right. He made this cool graphic about like this 4 for 4 that weirdly got me a warning in the Discord. I have to file a formal complaint against JD for that warning. That's my second strike. One more strike. I'm Javier Baez over here. I'm just whiffing left and right.
The guy I'm referring to. Thanks for buying me some time while I found this.
You're welcome. That's what I do. I buy time.
That's clutch right there. Lance Brozdowski on Twitter. I've never come across Lance before, but I found a post by Lance that was just fucking awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So he posts about like shape metrics of pitchers and how their pitches have changed from this year to last.
And which way it curves.
Well, I guess the miles per hour and then the like the inches of movement, whether it's down, sideways, whatever you want to call it. And he compares it to last year. So Brad Keller made that list, and he says Brad Keller has 2 new breaking balls last year, an 87 mile per hour slider with 2 inches of downward break and 6 inches of horizontal. The speed actually dropped from 84 or from 87 to 84, but now it has 12 to 20 inches of horizontal break, which is absolutely absurd. So
and I think that's underrated. I feel like people don't realize that a loss in velocity is a huge benefit for him. Like for off speed stuff. I mean, some of these guys, like if you get like that, if you start to get into that 10+ mile per hour difference in how you effectively throw that pitch, it's just so pretty to watch, and it throws people off greatly. Like I think he's gonna be good this year.
Yeah, he had a note on Jeffrey Springs, Joe Ryan, Noah Syndergaard, Graham Ashcraft.
Springs looked great yesterday.
Yeah, Springs was incredible. He said he broke his old slider into 2 new sliders. Now he has a sweeper that's 80 miles per hour with 13 inches of horizontal break. And then he has more of a shorter gyro slider is what he referred to it as, which is 86 with 5 inches of break. So I thought this report was really, really cool, and it could kind of fill in the gaps that would be hard to find elsewhere. Because I spend a lot of time, I'm sure you do too, kind of learning not only like these guys' K rates, but the pitches they throw, the pitches they get strikeouts on, and things like that. And this would have taken me till fucking June to kind of pick up on. So I guess shout out Lance. Go follow this.
Thank you.
This report.
Lance. Yeah.
This report is fucking awesome. So I couldn't suggest going and peeking at this enough. And it's just, you mentioned Brad Keller and it reminded me, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, while you give that helpful news, I'm going to just say I got a lot of Discord notifications or Twitter notifications that people ask me the pictures I use for the lineups. It's just roto grinders. It's just the play IQ, the lineup IQ. So it's not that special. I think it's just helpful to see a lineup with the percentages without having to do it like manually. It's like it doesn't really do much in terms of getting secret information. It just saves you a little bit of time. So
yeah, I did it manually for 2 years for everybody's rate and shit like that.
I'm gonna call him out, but Sammy Capper, he did the same thing. He texted me. He was like, on day 2, he was like, what are those pictures? I was like, oh, it's roto grinder. He's like, yeah, yesterday I was doing it with my calculator. And I was like, you fucking idiot, you square.
I did it with the calculator forever until I found it. Like, I probably found that in May of last year, and it was the greatest.
I'm gonna clip this and send it to him. I want him to know that I called him out because he texted me and I was like, dude, you can do better than that. I know you can. I trust you, man. But
it's funny. Yeah. I enjoyed the grind, man. I really love doing it. I don't necessarily miss doing it.
No, I love making it work harder. I love doing simple tasks and making it really difficult. That's what I try to do. Yeah. Like the other day, that was a stupid comment. No, but I just want to say that because I did get a lot of people that were asking me where that picture's from, and that's where it's from. Is Roto Grinders, not sponsored by them. If I was, I would have been saying it. I would have been having the T-shirt there. But yeah, they're great.
But hey, if you're interested in Roto Grinders, we just shouted you out. So I think that pretty much wraps up our MLB segment. NCAA, we have the national championship tonight, which of course leads to not having any NBA games because they don't really like to.
Which is nice. When baseball is back, I legitimately put NBA in the back burner, especially because NBA this week of the NBA, the last 7 games gets so wonky in terms of lineups, minutes, that I think it's a perfect time to get MLB in full swing, no pun intended, because it just helps me just push NBA in the back burner and focus on what matters, which is baseball.
But before, we can't throw basketball out at the window for the night because of college basketball. I personally don't have any plays. I would lean UConn -7.5. Do you have any input on this one?
Yeah. So this is something where I don't have the chat open, so you have to let me know. But this is an open forum where I actually, as much as a plus EV better as I am, I do have a future to win 15 units on UConn. I have 0.4 units to win 1,500, so like 40 to win 1,500 on UConn, the whole thing. And usually I know like it's negative EV to hedge and this and that, but it's usually so hard to hedge at this point in the tournament because it's like so even where you have to pay juice to hedge or this or that. But the fact that you can get SDSU for plus 300, I was talking to Oaks about this. I might end up throwing a unit, which is $100 on SDSU, just because I think UConn rolls, but it's almost just it's a weird situation where the hedging opportunity is so plus money where I cannot sacrifice that much and just kind of lock in 3 units of profit if I wanted to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't blame you there at all. That's an awesome ticket. At what point did you bet UConn?
Like a week before the tournament, they were 25 to 1, and I used my 50% boost on them. So I got them like 40 some to 1.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
word of advice, if when FanDuel does give you these like college basketball boosts, whatever, like you are way better off using a 50% boost on a future than like a minus 110 line, as long as it makes sense. Like I got UConn at 40 to 1 when they were like the market was 16 to 1. So it's like stuff like that, where if you can find those little things, it kind of pisses them off a little bit because it's like it's the most expected value thing. It's the most EV thing you can do really is kind of using on futures. I mean, it doesn't always work out, but yeah, like making like a minus 110 to like a plus 120 is not as the same as making a 16 to 1, like a 30 to 1 or vice versa.
Yeah, it's on the contrary of that. I don't really pay too much attention to college, but I have the same opinion as Brian. Unfortunately, I didn't have the same knowledge because I went Texas, Kansas, and I had a third one. They fucking lost. It doesn't matter who they were, and I just have those tickets sitting in my
It's
FanDuel
the worst. Yeah, I'm
active.
actually going.
I'm just sitting here staring at this $75 that I wasted on these futures. But I do fully agree. If you get these boosts coming into March Madness, like don't make a minus 110 plus 130, dude. Go make a fucking
Yeah,
plus
I'm
2,000,
going to the sports book today with my friend. We both have UConn tickets. So he is he is the actual ticket where he's had it stapled to his like fridge for the last few months. He took it in December for UConn. So we both have like $1,500 in
Yeah,
winnings on the line. So that'll be a fun game to watch. But
that's awesome.
this might be the most square bet ever. But I did take a prop in this game because I'm not usually in a state where I can.
There you
But
go.
I took a Sunogo over 15.5 points on MGM. This might
Nice.
be the most square bet ever. And SDSU actually has good length, but San Diego State is one of the best 3-point defensive teams out there. So I think they're going to give UConn fits on the 3-point line. And like Sunogo has hit this in 4 of his last 5 games in the tournament. And he's going to see his classic like 25, 30 minutes. And if they are struggling from 3, whether it means they're going to go more inside looks or if he can get some offensive rebounds, I think 15.5, it's 16.5 on FanDuel, which is usually a little tip for me because I think FanDuel's way sharper than MGM. Sorry, MGM. But that's
Okay.
8 buckets. And, you saw yesterday if you watched the finals for the women games, if you're a go-to guy for your team, if there's ever a time for you to show up big, it is in this game. So I did take Sunogo over 15.5 points. I only did a unit on it, but I wouldn't trust my knowledge too much in NCAA. But I've been watching this team for a while. Ever since I'm like a weird honorary UConn fan. I always root for UConn. And it's mostly because I was a big Kemba guy when he was in UConn, and
Yeah.
I took UConn to win the whole thing as a 7 seed when they were a 7 seed for my first bracket. So ever since that moment, I just watch the team whenever I can. So I do think it's a good spot for Sunogo to kind of put his team on the back and hopefully get them another win.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Anything else for college basketball?
No, I'm just root for UConn for me because this has been. I think there's nothing more fun in this tournament than rooting for a future. But there's also nothing worse than losing that future. When Baylor lost in the championship, that was my future for that year, and it was like, I mean, when Gonzaga lost to Baylor, I mean, like, remember when Gonzaga was like the team that's like, oh, like, wow, they finally put together, they're gonna roll for this tournament. I had them like 950 plus 950 at the beginning of the season. I'm like, dude, this team is actually legit. Like, this is great. They're finally doing this, and then they just got like demolished in the final game. So
Yeah.
let's hope that's not what UConn does today. I do think this team is very talented.
Yeah. Shout out. My wife has a 5 to win 80 on UConn. She took them pre-turning. So I guess she knows college better than I do for whatever reason that is. But
That's
uh,
wonderful to hear. I
that's a
think
big bet for my wife. She just keeps like 100 in her account and just sprinkles on something every once in a while, a couple times a year. And UConn was her pick. We had
and
a bracket with our friends. She picked UConn. I don't know what the fuck she knows that I don't, but good deal.
to kind of close out a little bit of the show because we can end a little bit early because we have so much time now. But yeah, I want to shout out to whoever it was in the Pickett pool. I don't know if you saw our sponsors at Pickett Sport. They held an NCAA like bracket challenge and they're giving away I think $1,000 in total in prizes. And there was a guy that has the SDSU UConn. So I don't think there's a way he can lose. I mean, he's like way ahead of everybody in this bracket pool that I think he's going to net like $750 for free because he has a crystal ball that somehow knew that San Diego State would play UConn. That's wild.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of college basketball and especially March Madness is I've always worked jobs that did a lot of NCAA March Madness brackets and things like that. And if there was ever somebody who's just like, oh, I don't watch college, I don't know anything, it's like that doesn't fucking matter. You probably have a better chance than I do without watching rather than
Dude, in college, so
watching.
this is the first year I haven't held a bracket. Like I usually do one myself, and I do every year. But this year, like with like work and everything else, I kind of just didn't get a chance to get around to it. But I used to be so into it, the bracketology, this and that. And one time in college, I was so high on Michigan State, and I'm like, dude, they're like the dark horse of the tournament. And I was like, I watched this, I did all this film, and then they lost in the first round, and I was like, I'm just gonna go jump off a bridge. I felt like an idiot. Like I always pick the teams that like give you the biggest edge in a bracket. Even if they lose first round, you gotta pick a team that you know it's gonna be like 5% of the people that would pick. Like the year that UVA won after they demolished their chances the year before losing as a 1 seed, I took that the next year and I was the only one out of like 86 people to do it. So it's stuff like that. Like no one to do that grossness because you can look like an idiot. But if you can separate yourself, like all that really matters in these bracket tournaments is the winner. Like you can miss like every single Final Four team, but if you're the only one that gets the winner, it's like it kind of just like shots you like way ahead. So
Yeah.
shout out to that guy that probably got horrendously made fun of for having an SDSU UConn. Like ever, he's probably like, hey, this is my Final Four in this big bracket tournament. And everyone's like, this fucking idiot. Like this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. Now he can go into work. He can probably just do it. He can probably take off work. Like he's just like he's here now. Like everyone's below him. Like everyone's below him in his office right now. So congrats to that guy.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible stuff. Which is a great segue into our next spot, which is Pickett popular plays. We can run through these real quick. We'll recap and plug a thing or two, and then we can hop out a couple minutes early. So, number one on Pickett's most popular plays, it's an offensive player. He's pretty tall. Who do you think it is?
Is it Sunogo?
I'm sorry. It's this all three. The top three are baseball.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't sure because you kind of said this is a great segue, and then now you're like it's all baseball. Is it Aaron Judge?
Yeah, it is Aaron Judge. Yes, Aaron Judge. He is the number one. I'm sure he will be many times. His total bases, his hits, his home runs are all heavily bet. Obviously, I dug in and became a part of that with my parlay. So no problems. I mean, it's Judge. I think we see a lot of plus 180 for him to home run, home run, especially when the weather gets nice. The weather's not really that great at Yankee Stadium tonight, but it's not enough to really scare me away. If this guy has 4 home runs and 11 at bats versus Taijuan Walker, he's pretty good bet tonight. So no issues with that one. Number 2 is a pitcher. This actually kind of coincides with what I saw. I saw a lot of guys on him on Twitter throughout the day. I actually did not post him personally.
Is it Mal?
Not. Yeah. Tyler. What is it? Mal?
Mal. Yeah.
Pronunciation's not my thing.
It's Male. Tyler Mahle.
I would have said Male.
Male. Yeah, you fucking idiot. No, I did see that. The biggest reason I did not jump on that train is I think it's important to know as much as baseball is a game of juice, like we kind of mentioned with strikeout props, it's also about knowing your juice. He opened at plus 125. Like he opened at crazy plus money, and then he's closing at like minus 140. You just no matter whether you think it's the best bet in the world, it's just you can't bet that far off in terms of CLV. Like it's just you're talking 60 cents there. That's just too much to drink up when you know what he originally opened at, which it's just too much.
Yeah, I think Alan posted it last night. I had to go to bed a little early last night, so I missed out on the fun. But I love the prop itself, but like Brian's saying, if you missed out on the initial wave, you might as well kind of just enjoy your night, man.
If you
There's
missed
other
out,
props out
just
there.
root against it so everyone else can lose. Just get
There you
like
go.
get your biggest petty smile on and just root for him to get demolished. That's what I say. Like if you missed out, just misery loves company. Just root for everyone else, and if you feel smarter,
That's awesome.
it's not a good theory or like ideology, but it's something.
That's funny. That's ridiculous.
Like
Uh,
the game that Jesus Luzardo, I took it under 5.5, and I'm pissed he got 5 because FanDuel opened him by accident at 3.5, and everyone hammered his over 3.5, but it was supposed to be 5.5. And I was so wishing it was just 3 because I missed out on it. But who's the last player?
Brady Singer, and somebody actually commented that if you go to player milestones, his 5 strikeouts is -115 rather than the over 4.5 is -120. They asked if it's a glitch. It's not necessarily a glitch. For whatever reason, you'll find different prices for the same prop on books.
Yeah.
5 cents isn't necessarily enough to call it a glitch, but obviously, if you are on 365, go ahead and grab that -115.
It's the same
five
thing with
plus.
it's the same thing with football sometimes. A guy could be like 41.5 yards, but like the same juice would be on 40 plus. So it's
Yeah,
just sometimes you can find those little niche things.
yeah,
Niche,
sure.
niche. But
Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say is this is my final thoughts on not the slate, but I made a tweet on Saturday kind of bitching that FanDuel sucks for not letting you do unders in same game parlays in baseball anymore for the strikeout props. And then today they added it back. So
Yep, it's back.
in my head, they respected me. They saw my tweet and they were like, you know
Had to
what?
be.
They're like, Brian donates a lot of money to us every year. We have to we have to honor him. No, but I do think it's great because I think you can get so many more options for same game parlays or like other plays when you can have that under. Because the biggest thing I hate is when you are getting shelled on same game parlay features, but also not able to bet the under. Like they'll juice the hell out of some of these props, but they don't give the under option, and that just kind of feels
Terrible.
annoying.
Yeah, that's atrocious. I was pretty pissed about that over the weekend. I think they had it Thursday, didn't have it Friday, Saturday, Sunday back now. So
Yeah,
good. That's a very good thing. We want that for sure.
yeah,
Makes it a lot harder to make same game parlays without an under option on strikeouts.
and then I guess we can wrap up the show. I mean, I'll go through my quick little recap. I did take Sonego over 16.5 points in the UConn game. If you don't know or aren't familiar, I don't usually have this market, but I do think it's something that is like I view it more as a fun bet rather than me saying this is totally going to happen. But I think it's a great spot for him. But then more of my expertise is MLB, and I did take Hunter Brown 5 strikeouts and Houston Astro money line -105 on DraftKings, and I took Drew Rasmussen under 4.5 strikeouts. He's really juiced some books, but you can find on FanDuel and MGM at around the -135.
Yep. I went Brady Singer over 4.5 strikeouts. Best is on Bet365. If you don't have that, the next best is Caesars. I then went to Ryan Nelson under 4.5 strikeouts, and I used my profit boost on FanDuel on this. Then I did the Mullins Matteo stolen base props. Actually, thanks to Bus on a Stack, he posted that Mateo's +185 now. Mullins is 165. I'd honestly, I'd probably play Mateo at that price, -1 or +165. Kind of, I don't know. I guess we can kind of just scrap that. Yeah, let's just scrap that. I'm sorry. And then I had my profit boost parlay, I guess is what I called it. I went Yordan Alvarez over 2 total bases, and then I got Houston Astros to win, parlayed with the Judge home run. I did that parlay to get the 50% profit boost. I ended up putting on Ryan Nelson under 4.5 strikeouts. That'll pretty much wrap us up tonight at 9.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's get out.
So I believe you have a Spaces coming up.
Pick it. I'm not going to be on it, but it's going to be Brokes, and then we're going to get some other guys on there. But yeah, if you shout out to Pickett Sports, they've been doing a lot of Spaces, and they've been kind of really fun to listen to and really educational. So listen to that on Twitter on 615 if you want. And obviously, Boom Fantasy, another sponsor. If you don't have it, download it for daily fantasy. But that's our show, guys. I'm super excited to have baseball back. So let's make some money tonight.
No doubt. I got one more thing.
And we had to. We forgot. We do have Gold Boys has their show tonight, live stream on the national championship game, which I will tune into. I'll be probably hammered watching my ticket at the bar, but I will tune in. Make sure you guys do that on this channel.
Yep. It's
9:10. Well,
yeah,
when the
it's
game's on, we know it's when the game goes. It's a live stream.
yeah. I believe that'll be Tone Stamp, Brad Thomas, and Burrows. We'll be doing the live react to the national championship game at 9:10. As always, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Baseball is back. It's been a good afternoon for both Brian and I, as well as anybody that tailed. So let's make it a good evening as well.